Try to get my camera just right. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. If you are on a different time zone than Eastern Standard Time, today I wanted to go over just breaking down the anger, as you can see in the title of this video. I think that a lot of us can relate to how much anger we have inside, and I know that some of us too can relate in that we sometimes don't know how to get it out. I have the hardest time getting out anger, and some of you will have the exact opposite. Some of you will have the hardest time reining in your anger, and that's normal. Everybody has a different reaction. It depends on your personality type. It depends on the trauma you went through. Just so many factors that go into how you respond to it, and everybody is entitled to their everybody is entitled to their own natural reaction. But we want to try to maintain it in the most healthy way, right? That's the goal, is just to get healthy, to get physically and mentally healthy. And the anger that is living inside that either comes up too much or you can't control and you can't really access it, you can't get it out, it will play such a huge role in your life in a negative way. It'll really impact the relationships that you have and your outlook on life. It can make your mindset very negative. Your thoughts are negative, which creates negative energy in your body. I'm a big believer in energy. I don't do the crystals or anything like that yet. I don't know if that'll be a thing in the future. Never say never. But I do pick up on people's energies. I am an empath and a highly sensitive. So very easily I pick up on people's body language and senses and vibes and energy. However you want to describe that, people have an aura about them. And life is, about being truly happy on the inside, but sometimes being truly happy is like fulfilling your goals, right? And so if you're putting off negative energy and you're just really, really angry, even like I said, if you're lashing out at people or you're just stuffing it inside, it still kind of reacts within your body, in my opinion, in a lot of the same ways. You just maybe will not get as many opportunities, and that might sound crappy. It is crappy if you're not building those relationships and you're focused on the anger inside, and you can't, the anger will take over everything. The anger will take over the sadness, and the anger will take over the mourning process that you need to go through. And it could, prevent you from experience opportunities or having opportunities extended to you because you are kind of, being a little negative. I've experienced this in my life. I'm telling you that I only say these things from experience. I'm not going to share anything with you that I haven't experienced myself, because I don't know at that point at all what I'm talking about. I've already told you guys that I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, nothing like that. I just have been there, and I'm still working through my anger. Like I said earlier, am one of the ones that will hold it in. I never felt safe enough to let out the anger. Drop me a comment below. Tell me what kind of anger you've experienced, whether you are like me and haven't really ever been able to express the anger, and so you just shove it all the way down inside as far as it'll go, and try to prevent it from coming out. And I think I'm getting sick. Or if you are able to express it, drop me a comment below. Let me know. Are you able to express your anger? and you seem to get angry and lash out too much, or are you like me and you can't express it? I really want to know. So I am going to speak from my perspective of having it shoved down and trying to access it and trying to bring it out. It's not easy. None of this is easy, right? It's very difficult. But regardless of how your anger comes about, it can take over your life. And the most important part of it is dissecting it. As much as I want to hide from my anger and not feel it and try to ease it and round those edges out, not pay attention to it, shove it down, as much as I want to do that, keeping it in there and not really getting to the root of it it's not getting me anywhere. It's not going to get us anywhere if we don't face it. That's the thing. Some people I've heard in my life, like, fake it till you make it. With healing, you can't fake it. You can't fake it. You have to face it. And so facing that anger, I think I've told you in a previous video, like, my childhood was full of hardship. It was very difficult. And I know my mother and father loved me, but they were very young. They were very young, and young people tend to be a little selfish. A lot of selfish. But they were a little neglectful. They were a lot of neglectful. And I felt that because I've always been a highly sensitive and an empath. I felt my mother and father's pain. I felt their worry when we couldn't pay the bills. I felt not only did I see the lights getting turned off and see, and know that I couldn't take a bath or get a glass of water because our water had been shut off, I would feel it from them, and we would exchange some of that energy. And sometimes my mom would confide in me about what was going on and, tell me how much she hurt when I was very young. And so I wanted to be there for her, and I wanted to comfort her, but in turn, it made it not so safe to be able to tell her the things that were bothering me, tell her the things that were hurting me. So you have to just kind of, what do you do with those feelings as a young child if your mother and father can't receive them because they're already full and giving, like, they're pouring over the negative stuff. Their cup's full of worry and anxiety and negativity, and it is flowing over to all of their children, but especially their highly sensitive middle child, and confiding in me about it. So I no sound. That's what people are saying. That's not good. I'm so sorry. I hope it comes back. But yeah, so you have to deal with that. You have to either, you're going to bury those feelings, or you're going to, you're going to lash out. And that's kind of where it builds from childhood, where you're either lashing out and you're acting out and you're misbehaving maybe in school or even at home and you're getting in trouble a lot, or you are a very quiet child and introverted and you kind of shove it all down, which is what I did. And it just progresses from there. It all starts in childhood and it just progresses from there. So how you deal with anger is how you kind of dealt with hardships and difficult feelings as a kid, most of the time. So trying to pull it back out in adulthood after, in my experience, I was always very quiet and always kept my emotions inside. I never felt like I had a good person to talk to unless I was talking to my grandma. And even then, I was scared to tell her stuff because she would be the one to stand up for me. And she would go to my parents and be like, what are you doing? This is not right. And it made me scared. And I didn't want to cause conflict. So I would still, even when I felt safe, I would worry about the repercussions maybe of even telling somebody that I felt safe telling. So that's my personal experience. And in adulthood, you know, it morphs throughout our whole life, not even in adulthood, but it morphs into different things if you don't deal with it. And it looks like severe depression sometimes, extreme anxiety. If you have these feelings inside and you don't know what to do with it, and it's just sitting there, and it will come out physically. Whether it's anxiety or illness, there's a lot of ways it can portray itself. So getting to the root of it, that's the real thing and a lot of our anger is going to come from the neglect we faced as children. You know, if you came from a stable home, you can just have complete and total anger that takes up your entire body just from one, traumatic event. Even if you only experience sexual abuse one time, and I don't mean to slight that at all. Everybody's trauma is 100% terrible, and it should never ever happen. But there are obviously people who were sexually abused over and over and over, and maybe there are some people who only were sexually abused once, but it's going to affect you a lot the same way, in that it's gonna cause some anger. It's gonna make you angry. Whether or not you're letting yourself get angry or your mind's letting yourself get angry, it doesn't really matter. There is some anger there, and there should be some anger there. It's the natural reaction, because what happened to you, what happened to me, what happened to us, it's not right. It's not right. It should never happen. And it should make people angry. And it should make you angry, because you don't deserve that. So, making sure that you are, when you're pulling out the anger and you're dealing with the anger, you have to make sure that you are projecting that anger in the correct direction and at the correct people. And it can be very, very difficult, because it's very natural for us to keep that inside, like make sure the anger is directed at ourselves, and we can say some really nasty things to ourselves, and we can it can look like not taking care of yourself completely. It can look like not allowing yourself to do nice things for yourself. There's a lot of ways that your anger can manifest as anger towards the self. And that is so detrimental, because you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. It was not your fault. It was not your fault what happened to you. No matter what. No matter if you didn't fight it. No matter if you didn't turn to me. I didn't fight it. I was so scared. I was so scared. My fight or flight or fawn is fawn. If you just want to keep it to fight or flight, it's flight. I'm going to fly off into wherever I can. I'm going to fly off into myself. I'm going to fly off literally out the door if I can. But in my past, when I was being abused, I couldn't flee. I didn't feel like I could at that time. So I would just freeze up and take it, basically. So it doesn't matter what happened to you, how you reacted to it. You were experiencing trauma. Your reaction was a trauma-based reaction, which generally is not necessarily logical. It is about survival. It's about survival, so you can't judge that. You can't judge yourself for that. You can only say, it happened. It wasn't my fault. I'm alive today, and we're gonna take it from here. We're gonna be the saviors that we needed, especially if nobody was there to protect you. Like, nobody was really there to protect me. So that's the first step, is just making sure, after you're able to notice the anger inside of you, which is truly the first step, writing down all the ways, or taking note of all the ways that it manifests in your life, making sure that you're projecting it, especially not inward. And you're going to want to make sure that you have a safe space and some mechanisms to help you sort them out. So like, if you get angry and you feel it coming up and you feel it's like anger, it's coming out as actual anger, and you're snapping at people and you're very short and you're not able to maybe take care of yourself well or your family well, you're going to need to let some of that out. And there's obvious things like screaming into your pillow and, maybe like beating up your pillow. And those are great. It really, it works. It can work. My therapist also suggested a really fun one is like the plastic baseball bats that you maybe, if you have kids, that you maybe have for your kids. Like wiffle ball bats or whatever. You just take it and you take it in your bedroom, shut the door, channel that energy, channel that anger, and beat the crap out of that mattress. Just beat the crap out of that mattress. You picture in your brain who or what or where that energy is coming from, that negativity, that anger is coming from, and take it and beat the crap out of that mattress. Works. It works. Another way is running. And I know a lot of people don't like to run. I don't like to run at all. It can hurt my knees, but some people do like to run, or maybe they don't like to run. Or not that they don't like to run, they don't know they like to run. Try it. Run as fast as you can, as hard as you can. Make your feet hit the pavement hard. And it's not going to be, running, if you don't do it in the correct form, it's not going to be good for your knees. I'm just telling you that. But if you don't do it every single day for a really long period of time, you'll be fine. It's just trying to get that anger out. And it probably won't take that long. You're going to get winded and exhausted and probably going to need a nap after that. I would. But these are just ideas of trying to deal with it. So that's another one, is running. Another good one is just if you are able to safely, like in your backyard, or some cities and states have like rec rooms where you go and you pay a little money and you wreck the entire room. There's like glass and wood and all kinds of things in there, and you just break it and you just take out your energy on it. You take out that anger on it. I recently went to a place called Flying Axes, where you literally go and you pay a little money and you sit there for an hour or two and you throw axes at a wooden bullseye and you try to hit the bullseye. It was very fun, first of all, and second of all, it was very much of it. I loved how much anger I was able to take out. You get to throw that axe as hard as you possibly can, because it's not as easy as you think to get an axe to stick into wood from across the room. So you throw it as hard as you can, and you try to get it to stick. And you go through a safety briefing, and they tell you, what to look out for. But the thing is you just have to make sure that you're letting it out somehow. My absolute favorite way is writing. It's always been my go-to, whether I'm happy, sad, angry, it's writing. I like to do a breathing exercise actually before I start writing to kind of try to calm my body down a little bit, because like I said, it comes out in physical form. It can sometimes look like anxiety, because you might get a rapid heart rate and you might start getting like sweaty hands, and your brain will start just going in a million directions and running at 1,000,000 miles per hour. So I do the 4 counts in, hold for 2, exhale for 6. You just do that a few times, and you have to exhale longer than you're inhaling. That's the trick. exhale longer than you're inhaling, and it will slow your heart rate. If you're inhaling longer than you're exhaling, you're actually doing the opposite. You're increasing your heart rate, and that'll be counterproductive to calming your body. It's going to excite your body. So I do the breathing exercises. I make sure I'm in a safe space, mostly in my home, probably without anything to do afterwards, because especially if you're doing like an actual writing exercise for anger, it can really help bring up some things. It can really help get some things out, but you might be residually angry afterwards. So I always like to give myself a few seconds to do another round of breathing exercises, maybe watch a couple funny, I love videos, especially like Facebook videos, Instagram videos, silly, funny, goofy, stupid videos that are like lighthearted and funny. I love them. They take my mind, and I'm able to shut my mind off. So that's my way of like quickly kind of calming down a little bit. I do a breathing exercise, and then I like watch a good TV show, or pet my dogs, or listen to a podcast, maybe a funny one, or watch some silly, goofy Facebook videos. So I just want, again, just point out that I'm not ever saying that you shouldn't feel angry. You should feel angry. What you've been through, 1 time, 5 times, 60 times, 1,000,000, it shouldn't have happened to you. It should not have happened to you. And it deserves 100% your full-blown rage. You just have to make sure that you are in a safe space around people, if any, who are safe. And to where it's not going to affect you negatively, where you're not going to get in a fight on the street and end up in jail, where you're not going to do something silly in the spur of the moment just out of reaction of being angry. You deal with it in a confined, constructive way, and then you're able to release some of it little by little, and release some of that residual anger that you naturally 100%. I'm validating your anger here and saying that you should 100% feel that. You just have to feel it and try to deal with it in a constructive way. Generally, when we're trying to heal, and maybe definitely when you're dealing with family, it can seem like a long time, and it does take a long time. It's said statistically, give or take, that it takes 4 years for every 1 year you were abused to fully heal. I don't know how much truth that is. I just read it somewhere. It's a statistic. Don't hold me to that, but I've kept that in my mind a little bit, and thinking like, people think it happens overnight, and it doesn't. And especially if you're not putting in the work to do it, which is the most important part. You have to want it and work for it. Excuse my language, as shitty as that is, because you didn't deserve what happened to you, and it's not your fault, but now you have to deal with these consequences of it. Even just that can make you angry. Like, why do I have to put up with this crap when I'm not even the one? Like, I didn't choose to do that to myself. So getting it out and dealing with it in a safe, confined, constructive way is super important. And what you want to do is make sure that, again, you're not directing it inside. You're not directing it out to your spouse, your partner, your significant other, whoever is trying to love you on the other side and love you well. Please be careful not to direct it at them. It will sometimes get directed at them, and that's where the conversation and the communication is key, is making sure that they're understanding that you're doing this work, and that there might be times when you come off angry, and it might seem like you're angry at them when they haven't done anything, but the reality is that it just is coming off that way, and it's not really them. And so sometimes you'll have to remind them. I have to remind my husband very frequently that I'm working through my anger actively right now in therapy, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not directing at myself. I am trying to make sure that I'm not directing at you, and that I'm directing it right at my abuser. I'm directing it right at my abuser. Any and or all of them, because there's not just one. And a lot of times, for many people, there's not just one. And if there is just one, direct it right at them. So I want to get more in detail on this in the next video. If you guys have enjoyed this at all, drop me your comments. Let me know what you think. Give me your experiences, what's helped you maybe with the anger. Again, whether or not you are able to get it out, or if you are having trouble accessing it. I only have 30 minutes in the morning, and we're at our 30-minute mark. So I'm going to pause here, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow morning. I'll come back at you at 7:30, right around then, and we can continue this. We'll move on to taking an anger inventory, and just some more ways of dealing with it. We'll go through taking the inventory and maybe dissecting some fear that maybe you're feeling around anger. So yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. One thing I would really love to do, and I want to get your all's permission before I do it, because I want to ask whether or not you have the space to not necessarily take it on, but just to hear it, is I would love to share with you one of my writing exercises that I did. And obviously I would put a trigger warning before the video and all of those things, but I want to ask in this video if that would be something that you would be interested in, because I am kind of guiding you guys through not only my experience with anger, but also through the workbook that I am working in, that I showed you in one of my first videos. So let me know what you think. I would love to share my writing with you and my letter, my writing exercise. So if that is of interest to you, and you kind of want to see, like, hear what the writing exercise looks like or sounds like, let me know. I really would love to share that with you. So this morning was a little all over the place. Anger is very hard to pinpoint, and it's a very complex issue. So I know it was a lot, and it was kind of, again, all over the place. But tomorrow I would really love to do the anger inventory, a little bit of fear of anger, and if you guys are up to it, sharing with you my first writing exercise on anger in here. So have an awesome day. Please, please remember that you are worthy, that you are brave, that you are truly a survivor, and most importantly, that you're not alone. Bye.